I would have gotten a ticket
Well,
if
you know,
I hadn't known my rights.
Jen, they were actually, there's a patient of ours, and we have a lawsuit with this one guy, and he was growing plants for himself on a plot where there were many other people growing. They came in and busted the entire grow site. He had his plants ready, trimmed, ready to take the next day. This guy's thoroughly disabled, but he's a police officer, so he knows the laws and he fights for his rights. So they cut down his plants, took them without his knowledge. He protested to the degree, and it was on the front page of the paper in Grants Pass or Medford, and they finally gave him back his medicine, but they had already admitted that they had destroyed his medicine, even though it was all ready to take. So they call him down, they give him somebody else's medicine, and they wouldn't let him weigh it at the counter. They said, take it, and you can weigh it outside. He took it outside. It wasn't his medicine, so the police officers that took it illegally actually redistributed. They took medicine they took from somebody else, or they grew it illegally. They actually gave him the medicine for somebody else. And if that's not distribution, and it's so crazy. I mean, they're so out of control, and I'm not even scratching the surface.
The chain of evidence as well. There's supposed to be a chain of evidence where evidence is tracked, and
Right.
so clearly that's been violated as well. You have a lot of issues to deal with down there. We need
Oh,
to talk
boy.
to legislators.
I'm dying to get you guys down.
Next, I'd like to welcome Tom and Carolyn Weber, and they're with Legal Shield. They're going to give us a quick talk about that. Did you want to come up here and discuss that, huh?
Sure.
Are you ready? All right.
Absolutely.
Good.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tom. I've been clean and sober for about 45 minutes. No, I just wanted everybody to kind of laugh. You know? Actually, Carolyn and I are independent associates of Legal Shield. And many of you, probably most of you, have not heard of this company, although it's been around for 40 years. Okay? The idea with Legal Shield is that we are to the legal profession kind of what your medical insurance might be to your doctor or your hospital. A long time ago, you probably heard your grandparents talk about the doctor that used to come to the house, and a lot of times they'd pay him by giving him a chicken or some baked goods or something. Pretty soon the legal or the medical profession got to the point where it was so expensive people couldn't afford to do that anymore. People got specialized, so on and so forth. And even today, most of us can't afford the kind of bills that we would have if we just plain go to the doctor without having some type of medical insurance. Okay? Legal Shield came about by a gentleman that was involved in a head-on traffic accident in 1969. As the statute of limitations was about to run out, even though the accident was not his fault and the other person got the ticket, the other person sued him. Okay? And in a civil suit or in any kind of legal action, if someone sues you and you don't show up, they win by default. So this guy had to take his own funds, even though he had automobile insurance. It doesn't cover you in a civil suit. So he had to take his own funds, fight the thing. He finally won it, but he almost went bankrupt doing it. And he said, you know, there's got to be a better system. There's got to be a better way to protect yourself from these kind of things. He started doing some research and found out that in Europe, since the 1920s, they had something very similar to where they realized that, you know, just like with medical insurance, they know that if you've got 100 people, not all of them are going to get sick at the same time. Not all of them are going to go to the doctor at the same time. But if everybody pays just a little bit into this big sand pile of money, when the 10 people out of 100 that do get sick, the money's there to take care of it. And he said there's got to be a way to do that with the legal profession as well. And he started this company in 1972 as prepaid legal. So recently, it's been traded on the New York Stock Exchange, Amex. It was recently bought out by a group, a private group. 60, how many million did they pay for it?
Lots of money.
A lot of money, $60-some million that they paid for it. But it has allowed them to rebrand the company, to start over, to offer a lot more things about this. Now, the reason that, and I'd like to thank Mike and Jennifer for allowing us to come tonight. I'm a caregiver for my father. I'm also a patient myself and a grower. And recently, some of the things that have happened down in the southern part of the state, we live in Medford, and, you know, or he was talking about, all the buses and things that have gone on down there. And one of the things that really broke my heart was I'm sitting watching the news one night after this big raid. They came in and ripped up, 300 plants. And here's this young lady standing there saying, they came in pointing guns at us, they put handcuffs on us, they had us sit on the ground. Well, they ripped everything out of the ground. They took all of our records and everything, all of our patient records, and then they just left. And she says, it seems like I should call somebody, like an attorney or something, but I don't know what to do. And I thought to myself, if something happens like that to you, that's the wrong time to be looking in the yellow pages trying to figure out who you're going to get to help you. Besides which, it costs a lot of money. On average now they say that it's $200 to $300 an hour that an attorney will charge you. Okay, that's kind of a national average. You go to some metropolitan areas, it's even a lot more than that. By being a member of Legal Shield, you pay a little bit each month, and what it does is it allows you access to call and talk to an attorney as many times as you want on any different subject, okay? That doesn't mean you can call them 10 times about your neighbor's dog barking. It means you can call them once about your neighbor's dog barking, and maybe they'll make a phone call on your behalf, or they'll write a letter. And I don't know about you, but if I get a letter from an attorney's office with all these people's names, it carries a lot more weight than if I just send them a letter about their barking dog. Maybe that's not such a good example. What do you?
We have a dog that barks. Probably not the best example.
I guess I shouldn't have gone that way. But one of the unique things about this is that during regular business hours, you can call as many times you want about many different things, and you can actually talk to somebody, and it's covered under your little small monthly fee. But what's really interesting about this, anybody know who Snoop Dogg is? You know who Snoop Dogg is? Okay, here's a real good example of what's happened, okay? Now, Snoop Dogg's a millionaire, the dude's got money, okay? He's got a personal chef, he's got a personal assistant, he's got a guy that works out for him, he's got somebody that drives his cars for him, he's got everything, right? He's got producers, he's got agents, he's got attorneys, okay? So what happens to Snoop Dogg, okay? 2:30 Saturday morning, he gets pulled over for a possible DUI, right? And they say, okay, yeah, you failed yours. So they take him to jail. And they say, you have your one phone call. So he knows, now I'm going to call my attorney, but it's after business hours, so I'll call his cell phone. So he calls his attorney's cell phone, and lo and behold, he gets the answering machine. It says, hey, it's the dog, I'm in jail, man. Get your butt down here and bail me out, okay? Problem is, the attorney took the weekend off, and he didn't have his cell phone turned on, and he didn't get that message until Monday morning. So guess who spent the whole weekend in the LA County lockup? He's a millionaire, and he can't get out of jail because it's the weekend. Guess what? I've got something right here as a member of Legal Shield in my pocket, and if I'm pulled over, I've got a little one on my keychain as well. It says to law enforcement, if you're going to question me, if you're going to detain me, if you're going to serve me with a summons or whatever, this is the number that you call. That's my attorney. And I have 24/7 access to an attorney. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock New Year's in the morning, I can call, and within 3 minutes, I'm talking to an attorney. Okay? And this is all part of the service.
I'm going to bring it back to what we're all here for tonight, and just also mention you guys who have dispensaries, some of you have terminally ill patients. I actually happen to be in nursing school. I was the one that got very nervous about having the product in my home, dealing with his father, dealing with him. And so I actually was the one that looked for this service, found this service, and called the law firm here locally to ask if they deal with medical marijuana. And I was told yes. I was told it is covered. I was told that not only do they deal with it, they deal with it regularly. And so we joined, we liked it so much that we became associates. That's how we are standing here before you today. And more than anything, I think I was just sitting here listening before you guys got started, before Mike got started, and the reality is, I heard probably 10 of you talking about legal issues. And I don't know about most of you here, but there's no way I can afford a $2,500 to $3,000 retainer. There's no way I could afford that. We just couldn't do it. But for $35 a month, to have 24-hour access to a law firm that deals with medical marijuana cases regularly, to be able to have our wills done, to have his father's wills done as part of that $35 fee, and to know that at the drop of a hat, if something really bad happens, I can call on his behalf or his father's behalf or my behalf. I don't want to get kicked out of school because of this. And to have it be covered and to have somebody that I know has our back. And that's what this is about. You guys probably didn't know about this. And so we're just here, just like Mike and Jennifer said, everybody needs to share information, and this is something that we have found that really works for us, and it really works, it could really work for everybody in this room and your patients. There's not one person who is a card holder or a grower or a dispensary who does not need this service.
So do they represent you, or they just talk on the phone?
No, they'll represent you, they'll write letters on your behalf, they'll make phone calls on your behalf. If it goes over one occurrence, they'll actually, I don't know any lawyer that gives a 25% discount, but it's still covered just at the 25% discount, which is can be easy. There's a number of hours that are included in pre-trial and trial defense time that are all under that 35. And that's the top plan. There's lesser plans as well, but that's the top plan. But I don't know anybody that can't afford. There's $17 plans and $35 plans. So you're talking.
How many attorneys are in Oregon?
Well,
One law firm.
They have one law firm
In each state.
in each state, and each of the law firms, 98% of the law firms that belong to the Legal Shield organization, and they've got a huge multi-million-dollar facility that they built in Ada, Oklahoma. That's our home office. Okay, they have
Proprietary software that monitors
actually all of their law firms that are represented.
how many phone calls it takes
So
for
they're
them to
doing it
pick up the
nationwide.
phone. That's
They're
how.
nationwide.
Yeah.
And here's another good point. I'm glad you brought that up. If you have an attorney here in Oregon and you cross the border over into Washington, he's not going to do you any good.
Nope.
Or you go to California or someplace else, because most attorneys are licensed in the state where they operate. Okay, and once you're gone and past that, it's no deal. With Legal Shield, we are represented in 49 states. Sorry, Alaska, you're not included. Okay, and 4 provinces of Canada. Okay? So it does make. I'll give you a real quick story. Okay, a fellow that we know lives in Georgia, and he has a retirement place in the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Okay. Now, to get to his place in North Carolina, he has to drive through this little town. We had one of these towns down in Texas when we lived down there, that the speed limit is 25, and if you do 26, it's a coin toss as to whether you're going to get pulled over. You're doing 27, you can bet your butt you're getting a ticket, okay? That's just the way it is. Well, this guy goes through this little town, going out to his vacation home in North Carolina, gets pulled over by Buford T. Justice, and gets a traffic ticket. Well, he gets home, he takes the ticket, and he faxes it to his local law firm, okay? They, in turn, contact the law firm in North Carolina, who sends someone to traffic court for him. He doesn't even have to show up, and actually gets the thing thrown out. It didn't happen once, it happened 2 times, okay, that this guy